Good morning, Internet! Welcome to Hoopty Doodle. We are on this VFR build. It is Monday morning. This is like week 4 or whatever, however you want to do it, of this VFR build. We left off last week on Friday with playing with the electronics on this VFR and trying to get this thing started. So I'm hoping today it's something really dumb. I'm always hoping for dumbness on this stuff, where I just finally bring my brain around to the actual simple solution, which I'm hoping is that the bike is not in neutral. We're gonna try and we're gonna test that out here in a minute. This week it's gonna be crazy. This is Thanksgiving week, so I'm definitely not gonna be. There won't be a video on Thursday for sure because I'm traveling all day. Yo, let's check this VFR out. Yeah, let's check to see if the bike is in neutral, and then hopefully that we'll be able to start it, or it'll be able to crank at least. We'll get something going. Because yeah, at the moment I have no idea what gear this is in. So, oh, it is in gear. Oh, all right. Let's see. I assume it's in first or second or something, but all right. All right, now it is in neutral. The gear will spin. All right, freely, nice. All right, crossing our fingers. Holy shit balls. Oh my God. All right, the starter's clearly engaged and it clearly will crank, dude. Oh my God. The turn signal's not working. What happened here? What is going on, dude? All of a sudden it's working. Like full on working. All right, we have neutral, the neutral light. God, why did I notice that last time? We've now got the green neutral light on the dash. Like, why was that not obvious? We don't have a gas tank, so it's definitely not gonna actually turn on, but oh my Lord. It will fucking crank though. Yes. Listen to that fucker. I really hope this thing runs, man. Oh, I hope it runs. It's gonna be a great day when this thing runs. When it starts up and just boom. We are a major step towards that. We are a major step towards this bike running though. All we gotta do is get this gas tank on there and then we can start. We can start seeing if this will do something. So we've got turn signals now all of a sudden, where, well, theoretically, there aren't actually any bulbs anywhere, but like I can't believe. But look at that. That's pretty awesome. God damn it. Taking a quick look back at our gas tank here, I am still waiting on parts to rebuild this guy, our fuel pump, fuel filter. I'm waiting for all this stock, the OEM parts, the little tiny hoses and stuff to show up. So I've got all the aftermarket stuff. That stuff always shows up quicker. I also have this, I got this in the mail. This is off of a later model VFR. And it looks exactly the same as this guy here. The one that came off of here, I believe. Yeah, like these are the same size. The bolt holes overlap, like it looks exactly exactly the same. What did they change on this? It's a different part number, but God, what is different about it? Come on, man. So, I mean, it's the same freaking, like the wire colors are the same even. I mean, it's exactly the same. Wow. Like, wouldn't that be funny if they just had changed the wire colors and that's why it was a different part number? That would be interesting. But yeah, this looks exactly the same. It's in much better condition. I'm hoping this is just a plug. This possibly is just a plug and play thing. Like that would be awesome. So we got this guy. I'm setting this aside for now because this will be like one of the last things I put on the gas tank possibly. Yeah, we're just waiting on this fuel filter parts to show up so we can rebuild that, and then we can stick this on and actually try and start something. Start a war. I am so stoked right now. Are you stoked? I'm stoked, man. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself at the moment because, like, I'm really hoping that those parts for that fuel tank show up today so that tomorrow we can put that together and, like, try and start this bike. This could be an epic week, man. God, I feel like we just got over a hill, man. Like, I feel like we are going somewhere now with this build where it's like that cusp of will the build be viable or not? And then yes, it will be. I should slow my roll because it hasn't run yet. There's still a possibility that the thing won't run. So just gotta reset. So I should have ended the video like a couple minutes ago where it was like at that peak, right? Like that, from like a storytelling like perspective, I should have ended it right there. Like the video would be like a minute long where I'm like, oh, it'll crank, you know? And like, but I actually want to get stuff done on this bike as quickly as possible, which for me is a long time. And so I need to actually keep working on it today. So I'm now gonna move to something very, very boring, which is I gotta take this throttle body back off. So this guy, I mentioned that there's one hose in specific, like right on the side here, which actually plugs into absolutely nothing. It's like that hose is capped off, I just find that weird that they did this. So I've got to replace some of these hoses, and I've been waiting for parts for that. So those parts I picked up this weekend, and that's this guy here where you can, this is what Honda calls a bulk hose, which it's like, is that even 2 feet? I don't know, but hose, and there's like a weird diameter that is hard to find at the local hardware store or the local auto parts store. So we got this. So actually, second thought on taking the throttle body off at this point. I only want to do that once more. I don't want to make it a routine thing. I'm looking at the gaskets because there's supposed to be some O-rings between the airbox and the throttle body. There's supposed to be like 4 O-rings, and I'm looking at my gasket kit and I do not see 4 O-rings of that size in here, so, which is disappointing, gasket kit maker. So I'm gonna have to order those ones, which we all know will take a while for us to get that. So I don't want to have the throttle body off the bike for that long because I want to be able to try and start it. I'm planning for after we start it, then taking it back off and sort of rebuilding stuff and making it nicer. So I'm looking at the parts diagram right now, what's available from Honda, and those O-rings I just mentioned for the throttle body, they don't exist as a separate unit. They come as part of the airbox. You have to buy the whole airbox. And you guessed it, they don't sell that airbox anymore. That's no longer available on the parts list. So I've got to hope that there's some aftermarket solutions for this. Well, not that it's a huge or major thing to have those O-rings on there. I mean, the engine will run. I don't even think it would act as like a vacuum leak or anything like that. We'll be getting more air into the engine. Well, we would potentially be getting some air that would bypass the filter. That would be the bad part. Unfiltered air to a degree, but a very, 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 very small degree. I think I have the old O-rings. I'm not even sure about that. I still have to take the airbox off again to even verify that. So there's a couple things like that. So I've got 2 things that I need to look for on this airbox here that I would like to have, which is the O-rings that go inside right here, basically, that are under between the airbox and the actual throttle body. So I need 4 of those guys in there. And then there's also supposed to be a little gasket that runs along here for the sort of clamshell of the airbox. The top of the airbox goes on there. Or is there? Hold on. I'm just trying to verify that it's not, that this doesn't act as, I guess I'll go this way. Does that sit in there as a gasket? I guess. Fuck, I guess that does. It sits right in there. Well, the parts diagram totally. Huh, alright. So that's how that goes in. Alright, so I guess there is no gasket there. It's only just slightly confusing me because they show a gasket on the parts diagram. They show like 2 gaskets. I don't know what is going on in this parts diagram because they show 2 gaskets on there. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I guess maybe on the stock air filter, there is a gasket above and below the sort of air filter element, I guess. And since this is an aftermarket air filter element, we don't need that anymore. It eliminated those 2 gaskets. I mean, that's my guess. And it would be very convenient for us for that to be true. So if you've never done it before, I think I'm going to clean this K&N air filter today. Ta-da! Yeah, so this should be pretty straightforward. There's a bunch of, this is pretty dirty. There is a bunch of there's like leaves and debris and stuff in here. So I need to sort of get that stuff out. I'm gonna blow it out with air is my plan. And then we'll actually clean this stuff. I do have the official K&N stuff to do that somewhere. I gotta find it now. It's not in here. There it is. So there's that stuff there. And this thing consists of a couple of little things in there. There's like a cleaning element. Yeah, so there's a cleaner element there. And then a re-oiling element. Let's blow this thing out with some air. Try and get all the junk out of here. Because there is a lot of junk in here. Yeah, look at all that. Yeah, what was this person doing with this bike, man? Why was there so much? I feel like it got abused. I feel like this bike got abused a little bit because, I mean, there's like all kinds of sticks and stuff in here, and like, was he riding it through a field? Like, I don't understand how we'll get this dirty riding it on the street. Like, where are you encountering this much grass and sticks on a normal street? Not that I'm against, like, you know, having fun with your motorcycle. Maybe I'll ride it through a field. So yeah, I'm just going through here with this little tiny implement here that I've got to sort of knock this stuff loose. All these pieces of grass and leaves and stuff, get those out of there. At least get them loose in there so that they can be knocked or blown out a little bit easier. So that's way better than it was. So now I want to throw some of this cleaner on there. Let's see if this stuff even works. I mean, this has been sitting there for years, dude. So, let's see. Yeah, we basically want to soak this stuff with this cleaner. And this would get rid of all the oil. It's basically like a degreaser, I bet you, is what this is. And then later we'll rinse this stuff off. I'll have to go and rinse it off camera. And then, yeah, it kind of smells like degreaser. And then again, I have to let it dry. So that will take a couple days or whatever, probably. And then we put oil back on it. So that'll be later this week. So for right now, I'm gonna let this sit for a couple minutes and then I'll go rinse it off. So we can mess with this gas tank a little bit more. I want to take this cap off, and then we've got the new cap. I wanna see if we can swap stuff around here. We'll take this apart. and see if we can sort of rebuild this. That would be nice, right? Still so dirty. Fuck. So here's our old one. I'm trying to get the new one out here. And here's our new one. I might need the key there. Hold on. Pull this stuff out. Well, let's try just putting this on the bike real quick and seeing if it bolts right up. I'm curious. All right, so does this fit on there even though it's not supposed to? Right? All right, let's see. Fucking A. Yeah, that totally seems to fit on there. All right, so awesome. Awesome. All right, so that's good to know. Completely different part numbers, but that works. Like I said before, that's off an NT700. It'll fit on this VFR. And it's like a 2010. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the key tumbler. That's what we're gonna try and do right now. If you recall from a couple weeks ago or whatever, we tried to look at this thing before and tried to take it apart and we couldn't figure out how to do it. And I had to look stuff up and now I know how to do it. Basically, hidden behind this little rubber gasket underneath here, there is a little metal ring. You have to pull that ring up. Underneath that ring is a couple screws. So if we can get that ring up, then we can... This thing is so crusty, man. Just the gas cap itself is just full of rusty crust, and I'm glad I can swap this whole thing out. That's gonna be a big improvement for this bike, man. There's so much like grime and like rusty crap just around this ring. Yeah, you can see how that ring is coming up there. There we go. So yeah, this little guy there, it's a thin little piece of metal. And underneath that, we should be able to find a couple of screws in there. And hopefully we'll be able to, yeah. So you probably can't see it, but there's a little tiny screw right there, screw head. I think there's like 2 or 3 of them. And those are pretty rusted looking, so we might be, yeah, there's 3. And they are pretty darn rusted looking. Well, hopefully we can get those out. I'm worried because they are tiny screws to begin with. And then they're also rusted. So not exactly easy combo here. Let's spray some WD-40 on there. I'm nervous because these are so tiny and it's not like I can get my, if they were big enough I could get my impact wrench or screwdriver thing on there, like I'd be pretty confident that we can get them off no matter what. I think it's turning. I think this one is turning. Oh, yes. There's one, dude. There's hope. The other ones can't be horrible, right? If this one can come out. All right, we got the second one. Just have one more. It's turning. Yes. Yes. I was afraid I was gonna have to let this stuff sit for a couple days or something to let the oil soak in. Or I thought I might have to heat it up with a torch or whatever and like burn this little gasket right off of there. Now I'm gonna put this key back in there. I think this is a crucial part in which springs potentially could be popping out. I want to keep this tumbler thing sort of intact. We definitely don't want to mess that up. So in theory, this should start, something should come apart here. something should come apart. I guess let's try and get the screws actually out of there. There's one. This is a real pain, man. It's coming apart. Alright, I guess I can't keep the key in there. Oh, look at that. Alright, the little tumbler part just came right out. Well, this is awkward. So there's my little tumbler part, and it's stuck on one side, and my key's stuck on the other side. And this is where all went wrong. Try and sort of set it back together and try and get this key out of here. Alright, now I'm going to try and take it apart. Okay. That is separated, and now this little tumbler guy. Does this just come straight out? Yeah. Okay. I guess in theory that's all I need from this old one, and I can set that aside. Sort of clean this up a bit. My key is bent. I've bent my key in the process. My $200 key. I'll clean this guy up a little bit. Alright, I'm going to spray it down with some WD-40 too. And in theory, we want to do the same thing with this other one. And then we can just swap that tumbler into this guy. That's my plan here. This thing is in such better shape. Oh my God, it looks brand new comparatively. It's like changing a tire. I have bent this thing a little bit, but I can bend it back without any problem. We'll put it back on and reuse it. I'm not worried about it being bent. All right, now our little tiny screws. Let's see if I can actually get this one out of here. Come on, little screw. See, I don't know how easy it is to see that. There's a little screw down in there. This guy here sort of comes out and gets in the way because our screw is right underneath that. So I gotta put my key in and get that guy, sort of bring that in, and then we can get in there and get to that screw. Yeah. Take that guy out. The rubber's getting caught in there. There's like a little gasket. There we go, and that comes off. Put our little gasket back down, and now, in theory, just pull this guy out and swap this guy in. This is awfully clever if this works. Awfully clever. Alright, that guy was in like that. And that orientation. Let's see if this will work. It works. All right, now we just got to get it back together successfully. This may be easier said than done. These little tiny screws are not, and that rubber gasket really, it gets in the way a lot. So this might be a bit challenging. Let's try and make it as easy as possible on us. Crap. All right, there we go, there we go. All right, let's try and make it as easy as possible and start with an easier to reach screw. Maybe I shouldn't have taken these screws out. Yes. It's going in, man. All right, I'll leave that kind of loose. We'll come back to it, tighten it up, try and get everything else in here. Nice solid connection going here. All right, we got that one. We are doing it. All right, and the third one is the one we need a key for. Oh yes, folks, we got it. We got it. This is awesome. This is like one of those cool little things. It's like a neat little trick, dude, that if you know how to do it, boy, you can do some cool stuff, right? Like, it's like an insider secret. Professional versus amateur. An amateur would just have somebody else do this, or buy a gas cap that didn't have a lock on it, you know, which is what I had been thinking about doing until I figured out how to do this. And now, for the same amount of money, we've got professional grade results where we've just swapped over the little tumbler, and it's like we know what we're doing. All right, let's test it out. Check that out, man. This is kind of cool because, like, if you just press this guy down here, like, the key sort of pops by itself like this. The old, which sort of goes to show how much of a difference the springs and stuff inside here make, because the old one didn't do anything even remotely as nice as this. Like, this is like really functionally awesome. A much needed upgrade on our bike. So I'm gonna stick this back on our fuel tank, and we have made a huge improvement here today. Now I gotta get the ring back on there. So this guy, I need to sort of slide him over all of this stuff. Get him underneath that gasket. This is the hard part. This really is not simple. It's going. All right, that is back in. Make sure it is seated down all the way. All right, let me make sure our key still works. Everything works the way we want it to. This thing has gotten quite dirty. Yes. Sweet. Oh, massive improvement. Now, let's go ahead and put this back on our gas tank. So we just discovered why this cap is different than the other cap. It's these little aesthetic screws on the sides here. They're actually a different diameter. Like this, on this new one, they're much thicker screw diameter. And so these guys don't even fit on there, but it doesn't affect the functionality at all. Other than that, these are totally functionally swappable. I would just have to get the appropriate little screws for these sides, these aesthetic screws, for this to have the full look it's supposed to have. But it will work like perfectly, just swapping them out. So super stoked about that. This has worked out like I couldn't have asked for it to work out as well as it has.